Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Join me while I try acrylic markers for the first time and draw on the cover of my sketchbook with them. Artex generously gifted me these acrylic markers and I'm making this video to share my thoughts with you guys. I have very limited experience with acrylic markers, unfortunately, having only used a few colors before. Generally, they can be quite pricey, but this set of 48 colors is available for around $40, and with the 15% off Amazon discount code provided in the description below, you'll only pay around 70 cents for each marker. In comparison, I usually pay between 2 to 3 euros 50 for an acrylic marker at my local craft store, so if you're interested, this seems like a good deal. A bonus is that these markers also come with plastic stands. It's nice because I use the same stands for all my markers, so they match and I don't have to buy new ones. The first thing I did after unboxing them, of course, was putting them in order by number, not by color, unfortunately, because this way it's easier to find the ones I want to use. I don't know much about acrylic markers, but I do know that they are filled with acrylic paint, so you can enjoy the versatility of acrylics in a marker form. Similar to acrylic inks, the pigments inside the marker might separate due to the more liquid binder, so it's important to shake them thoroughly before use to ensure the paint inside is well mixed. To get the marker to work, apply pressure to the tip. It's very satisfying to watch the ink flow down and color the point. When you use the markers and you feel like you need a little bit more ink, you just simply have to press down a few times to release more. And now let's get swatching. Making swatches of paint is literally the best thing in the world. It's so relaxing. I feel like I'm in control. I wish I could do it every day for the rest of my life. Is there a job where I can do just that? Anyway, I can tell from the swatches that all of these markers contain white pigments, except for the black one perhaps. Because of this, they have a gouache-like appearance. However, contrary to gouache, acrylic paint dries 2 to 3 shades darker instead of going lighter. And I can say that's all for gouache similarities. These markers behave exactly like you would expect acrylic paint to. They are waterproof and can be used on pretty much all surfaces. When the paint dries, it dries a little shiny, and particularly these ones are supposed to have higher coverage, probably because they contain white pigments. Unfortunately, I have no frame of reference to compare these markers to other brands because of my lack of experience with acrylic markers in general. And because of that, I'm not sure if these markers have a better coverage than others or if they're juicier. It really depends on the surface you use them on. Like if it's really dark, like black, it might take up to 3 coats to get a complete flat finish. If you're using them on a super smooth surface, they look more juicy because of course the paint sits on top, but if you use a more absorbent surface like paper, they look more dry because the paper absorbs the paint. I'm not sure what's the standard and if these are above that, so I cannot say anything about that. I've been having fun testing them in my sketchbook. I found them quite challenging to use because they force me to simplify my art in a way that I usually don't. It's sad that I cannot use colored pencil on top of acrylics. If you used acrylics, you know, because they dry shiny like a plastic film, so colored pencil don't really work on that. So I cannot add details, and details can always improve on mediocre painting. Details distract you from the imperfections, you know. But to make something simple work, you really have to be mindful of the shapes you draw and the placement of the colors. Using them to sketch with is certainly an interesting exercise that I think will for sure help me improve my composition skills. In this video, I've chosen to decorate the cover of my sketchbook using these markers, recreating the duck with the flower hat, which I had previously drawn in the sketchbook based on a picture from Pinterest. I found it so adorable and thought it would look super cute on the cover. I don't usually draw on my sketchbook covers because usually I don't have the tools, but now that I have these markers, I will probably always doodle something on everything from now on. These markers, I think they perform really well. I don't have complaint regarding the flow or the coverage, but they do have a thick and sturdy tip, and that is designed to be like that, to resist use on various surfaces. However, to do this sturdiness, the first layer of paint might peel and damage paper, and that's annoying. I found a way to prevent this. I recommend preparing the paper with a base of acrylic paint or gesso for canvases, and this ensures that the marker will glide super smoothly and 100% prevents paper damage. An hack that I have, and that you can use at your own risk, okay, is to invert the marker tip with tweezers. Since this set comes with extra tips, very mindful, very demure. Just kidding. I've noticed that the tip is smaller on the other side from the extra tip, so I invert it and use it to draw smaller details. However, be careful because you could eventually make a mess. Also, don't ever shake the marker without the cap on, please. I do not recommend. I've been there, I regret it, I made a mess, so I don't do that. If there's one thing I will definitely use these markers is to create DIY decoration for my room during the holidays. I plan to use them to doodle on my windows and on mirrors and possibly on walls as well. I know it's a bit permanent, but I have my own willpower and I can draw on my own wall if I want. I also enjoy working with wood and fabric to create decoration as a hobby, and these markers will come in handy for that. I'm already preparing decorations for Halloween, and would you like to see them? I love Halloween, I cannot wait for it. Actually, I want to wait, because it always comes too fast. Anyway, have you ever experimented with paint markers? Do you use them? How do you use them? Do you have any tips? Let us know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed watching me painting this little cute ducky, and this video has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching and for listening, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye guys. Bye bye.